AMD opened the session at $233.26, high $235.38, low $227.91, and today sits in a market that's trying to price how big AMD's next chapter will be. With a market cap of about $378.25 billion and a trailing PE north of 130, everyone from traders to tailors, metaphorically, is trying to figure out what kind of suit this company will be wearing 3 years from now. Open/high/low, $233.26/$235.38/$227.91. Market cap, $378.25 b. P, 134.17, very elevated for a large-cap tech name. 52-week range, high $241.20, low $76.48, big swing, shows the volatility over 12 months. Trailing 12 months revenue, TTM $29.6 billion, this is our starting revenue figure. Shares outstanding, approximate diluted 1.623 B shares. AMD, the chip maker that runs like a sprinter in a marathon. Have you ever watched a sprinter bolt out of the blocks, then decide halfway through the race to learn how to cha-cha? That's a little bit like watching AMD lately, furious bursts, strategic pivots, and a market that keeps applauding as if it's seen the prelude to something even bigger. Market cap and P ratio, the market's cute letter or wishful thinking. AMD has a market cap of $378.25 billion and a P/E ratio of 134.17. Those two facts together tell a clear story. Market cap equals headline size. $378 billion puts AMD in the big league tech club. It's not small fry, it's a substantial company whose moves matter to chip ecosystems, data centers, game consoles, and PC makers. P equals price paid for each dollar of earnings. A P/E of 134 is very high. For a quick metaphor, imagine two restaurants. Restaurant A has steadier profits and a long line. Restaurant B is a trendy pop-up that everyone says will be the next big chain. If you pay 134 times this year's profit for Restaurant B, you're essentially betting that future profits will explode. You're buying optimism, not current cash flow. So, a P/E that large signals two things simultaneously. Investors expect strong future earnings growth. The market assumes AMD will grow earnings fast enough to justify today's price. Earnings are probably relatively small right now compared to price, meaning a tiny earnings miss can cause big P swings. Short version, high P equals high expectations, and high expectations come with high sensitivity. By the way, if you are benefiting from the content so far and want more like this, like the video, it means much to me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and comment the word more. Just go ahead and type the word more so I know. Now that you have commented, let's continue. The 52-week roller coaster, 241.20 versus 76.48. AMD's 52-week high of $241.20 and low of $76.48 is a dramatic range. That's more than a 3x move, about plus 215% from the low to the high. Picture the stock as a surfer who wiped out spectacularly, then learned to ride the biggest waves. A range this wide tells a layered story, volatility. AMD has had periods of deep weakness, the $76 area, and strong recovery, the $241 area. Volatility can be born of product cycles, cyclical demand for semiconductors, competition with big players, macro shocks, or simply market rotation into growth names. Recovery and thesis validation. Reaching the $241 area suggests investors reassessed AMD's strategy, margins, or product wins and decided the company was worth a lot more. If a company rides from $76 to $241, either something materially improved, revenue, margins, new wins, or sentiment shifted significantly, sometimes both. For everyday people, dramatic 52-week spans are thrilling for traders, stomach-churning for buy-and-hold investors. If you own shares, buckle your safety belt and enjoy the ride. But don't forget why you bought the stock in the first place. Price to sales, PS, and growth expectations, paying for tomorrow's sales today. AMD's PS ratio is typical for a company expected to deliver very strong growth. That's a great shorthand. What PS measures? It asks how much investors pay for each dollar of current sales. Unlike PE, which uses earnings, which can be lumpy, PS can be steadier in fast-growing industries. A high PS implies investors justify the price based on future sales expansion and margin improvement rather than today's profits. Why high PS fits AMD's story? If the market expects AMD to capture share from competitors, expand into data centers, or grow profitable console/CPU markets, paying a premium for each dollar of sales can make sense. You're essentially saying, I'll pay more now because sales and margins will be bigger tomorrow. Buying AMD at a high PS is like investing in a farm that currently grows strawberries but is about to add orchards of apples, peaches, and a very profitable blueberry greenhouse. You're paying for the future bounty. Past revenue performance. Last year and the last 3 years. Last year AMD delivered a 27% gain to the company's top line, revenue. The latest 3-year period has seen an overall 37% rise in revenue, aided by short-term performance. Let's pull these findings together. A 27% year-over-year increase is impressive in absolute terms. That's the kind of number that turns heads on earnings calls and fuels analyst upgrades. A 37% 3-year cumulative increase tells a different, but complementary story. Over that longer window, the compound annual growth rate, CAGR, is about 11.06% per year, because going from 100 to 137 over 3 years is almost equal to 11.06% CAGR. Translation for viewers: recent acceleration. The last single year was a sprint, plus 27%. That's where a lot of the excitement comes from. Longer trend is steadier. The 3-year CAGR, 11%, shows solid, consistent growth, but not the kind of triple digits you'd see in hyperscale startups. The 27% year shows AMD can sprint. The 11% 3-year shows it's also running marathons. Imagine AMD is a tree. Over 3 years it grew from a sapling to a small fruit tree, plus 37% total. Last year, it had an unusually fruitful season, plus 27%, maybe from better sunlight, new products, and watering, market demand. That big crop makes gardeners optimistic about planting more trees, and that optimism is what lifts the stock. Analysts' forecasts, future growth expectations, and math you can love. Analysts expect revenue to grow by 29% per year over the next 3 years. If those estimates hold, the math is simple and dramatic. Growing 29% yearly for 3 years multiplies revenue by about 2.15x. In plain English, analysts are forecasting AMD's revenue to more than double in 3 years. Compare that to historical 3-year CAGR, 11%. Analysts are effectively calling for a step function acceleration, from an 11% annual growth trend to nearly 29% annually going forward. That explains a lot about the market's willingness to tolerate a high PE and an elevated PS. Investors are pricing in a sizable growth acceleration. Picture a modest commuter car that suddenly gets a turbocharger and racing tires. Past performance was solid for commuting. Analysts expect it to become a legit track machine. If they're right, paying a premium today makes sense. If not, that premium is at risk. Why the market might reward AMD more than its industry peers. Here's why that expectation persists. Product cycle wins. If AMD continually launches competitive CPUs and GPUs that gain share from incumbents, revenue and margins accelerate faster than industry averages. Think, stealing customers from a slower competitor and expanding into premium tiers. Data center and AI tailwinds. If AMD expands deeply into data centers or AI accelerators, markets growing faster than PCs, it can outpace the broader semiconductor industry's growth. Margin expansion potential. Selling higher margin parts, like enterprise processors, or reducing costs can turn revenue growth into even faster earnings growth, which justifies premium multiples. Execution track record. If AMD consistently beats expectations, investors become willing to pay for momentum. Market psychology matters. Growth begets more growth from multiple expansion. So, a higher PS is like the market putting a higher deposit on a future they think AMB can build faster than others. Putting it all together, a fair assessment. What we know from your numbers, intraday movement was mild to moderate, 3.2% total range. Market cap places AMD as a major tech player. P of 134 signals high growth expectations and high sensitivity. 52-week high/low spread, 241.20/76.48, shows past volatility and a dramatic recovery. Revenue history. Last year's plus 27% is impressive. Plus 37% over 3 years, 11% CAGR, shows solid medium-term growth. Analyst forecasts of 29% PA for 3 years imply revenue roughly doubling, a big acceleration. The market is treating AMD like a company that just finished building a very fast engine and is now expected to install it across a growing fleet. And this put our target between $500 to $700 price target in the next 3 years. If AMD hits those forecasts, investors will likely look very smart. If growth disappoints, the high valuation makes the stock vulnerable to sharp corrections. Note this as well. And he saith unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he which is filthy, let him be filthy still, and he that is righteous, let him be righteous still, and he that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. Revelation 22 verses 10 to 14. If we fully obey the Lord, the Creator of heaven and earth, and carefully follow all his commandments, he has promised to set us high above all the nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28. We shall be blessed when we come in and when we go out. I appeal to you to accept God and let him be your guide, for he will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Want more information? Please check the description section. That's the end for now. If you have watched until the end, drop a comment like this: I stayed until the end. Just comment that I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I will give you a heart. 3 more favors I request from you. First, like this video, subscribe and then turn on the notifications bell. If you do this, you greatly encourage me to continue bringing to you insightful content. Do not miss out on our future videos full of insight. All I am asking is your subscription. Thanks for joining us today. Your support means so much to us. Do not hesitate to share this video to help someone who may benefit. I recommend that you watch the next video, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts about today's video. Wish you God's blessings and care. Faith and prayer will do what no power on earth can accomplish. See you in the next video by God's mercy.